Hey everyone, Simon here with Top Tennis Training, and in this video I want to show you how to hit the perfect forehand slice in 5 simple steps. Now before we get into step 1, why would you want to hit a forehand slice over a topspin drive forehand? There are 3 main reasons, and the first one is to defend with. We have more reach with that forehand slice. To approach with, so to come forward to the net. And the third reason would be to mix up play. Just like on the backhand slice when we hit a couple of drive backhands in a row and then we decide to slice a backhand just to change the dynamics of the point, the same is true with that forehand slice. So step 1 is having the correct grip. And the grip that we'll use to hit that forehand slice would be between a continental grip, which is the normal grip that we use to serve with, we hit our backhand slice with, and we hit our volleys with. So we could use a continental grip if we're slicing the ball in front of our body. If we're going to make contact out in front, this will be the ideal grip. But if we're hitting the ball on side of our body, let's say you're pushed out really wide, you know you're going to be hitting the ball late, you can actually go all the way around to an Eastern backhand grip. So this grip is crucial if you want to hit a forehand slice on side of your body. If you're making contact late, this will allow you to actually hit that kind of squash style shot on the side of your body or even behind your body's line. Step 2 is having the ideal swing path. Now this will change depending on the height of the ball and depending on what you want to do with that shot. Now for those higher balls and those medium height balls, you want to have that high to low swing path, which will allow you to have that same kind of effect as a backhand slice. When the ball's coming higher on our backhand slice, we want to feel that we're cutting down on the ball, and that's the exact same principle on this forehand slice. We want to be above the ball level so that when we're actually making contact, we're coming downwards, and that will produce that underspin, that will produce that power, and this will produce the ideal swing path for you to actually hit that forehand slice in an aggressive manner on those high or medium height balls. On the lower balls, however, if I go from high to low, it's going to go into the net. So it depends on how low the ball is, but in general, on those lower balls, you want to have that low to high swing path with the strings open to the sky, which will allow you to hit that underspin, keep the ball nice and low hopefully, but will allow you to hit the ball upwards and over the net. Now the swing itself is very simple. The first thing you want to do is turn the shoulders. So as soon as you recognize that the ball's coming to your forehand and you want to hit that forehand slice, the first thing will be to have a little bit of a unit turn, coil this left shoulder if you're a right-handed player. At the same time, you're producing this L shape in the racket and the hand. This L shape will give us leverage over the ball. Leverage is basically force over that ball. Exact same technique as on the backhand slice. If I go into a position like this, I won't have much power over the ball. But if I get that L shape on my backhand slice, then I can actually feel that stability prior to and during the contact zone. And this is the exact same thing on my forehand slice. The racket head is higher than the grip level. As I start the swing, I'm in that position and I have that L shape in my arm and the racket head. Now I'll try to keep that L shape all the way through the preparation, all the way up to the point of contact. After contact, we might let the L shape drop, especially if we hit a more aggressive slice and the wrist flicks through a little bit. Now the swing itself, you want to lift the racket to around head level. If the ball is higher, you'll have to lift the racket head higher. If the ball is lower, you don't need to prepare as high. And from here, I'm just cutting downwards on the ball. So that high to low swing path once again. At the same time, I'm having the strings open up slightly around the point of contact, which will allow me to cut under the ball and produce that slice on the shot. Step number 3 is using the correct stance. Now the stance will change depending on where you are on the court and where you're trying to get to. So if you're approaching, the stance will be different. If you're hitting a wide forehand slice, the stance will be different. Now in general, when you have a wide forehand and you choose to slice it, you'll use the open stance. And this is simply where you get the outside leg, so your right leg, if you're a right-handed player, to get as wide as possible, almost in that lunge position. In this position here, it's almost as if I'm doing a lunge with my right leg. I'm going down into that right leg, and this is kind of similar what we'll be doing with that open stance. I'm in that wide position, I'm stretched out, and I'm trying to stretch out for this forehand slice here with that open stance. Now if I do a closed stance, which is the opposite, where I have my left leg across my body's line, yes, I can reach the ball, and yes, I'll have to use this sometimes, but I'm also blocking myself off for the next shot. So recovering from this closed stance becomes much harder, and also I cannot rotate properly, so the power will be much less if I'm using that closed stance. Now if you have a ball that's around mid-court and you want to actually come forward on, this is where you can step in with the neutral stance and actually use a cross behind step. So as I'm coming up to a short forehand, I can have my left leg stepping forward. I'm in this neutral stance here, and as I make contact, I go back behind with my right leg. And the reason we use this is it will allow me to actually put my body weight through the shot, but also stay side on while I'm hitting this forehand slice. What we don't want to be doing, especially if we're hitting down the line, is hit the ball and then open up too early, because then the ball will float and also I'll lose control of that shot. Step 4 is having the correct angle of the strings. Now this will once again change depending on the height. A higher ball that you choose to slice, your strings will be much flatter, facing towards the net much more. A lower ball, you'll have to open the strings up much more in order for you to actually get under that ball and produce a bit of lift to clear the net. So the higher the ball, the easier it is to keep the strings flat towards the net, and the lower the ball, the more you'll have to open the strings up. So somewhere between both the flat and the completely open is where you want to be on most of your forehand slices. This will give you a good amount of power, but also enough underspin to produce problems for the opponent down there. And step 5 is your tactical intentions with that forehand slice. What are you trying to do with that slice? Now if you slice it and you have enough power and you use the correct mechanics that we've covered in this video, and you actually hit a very good forehand slice, it stays low, it should make it very hard for the opponent to attack. If you think about it, if the ball is down by their knee or even lower, it's very hard to attack that type of ball. So this is exactly why we want to use that forehand slice at the right moments. We want to make it hard for the opponent to deal with those lower bouncing balls. When we're defending, if I defend and I hit a good forehand slice, now this ball should stay low, it should become very hard for the opponent to deal with, and it should actually neutralize the point. So I'm going from that defensive situation, hitting this defensive slice, but I'm actually turning it into a neutral position on the court. And to mix up play is once again a great tactic to use with that forehand slice. If you're only hitting that one type of topspin forehand over and over again, it doesn't matter who the opponent is, they'll become familiar with that type of shot, they'll adapt to that type of shot. Whereas if you hit one topspin forehand followed by one flat forehand followed by one forehand slice, you're now mixing up play completely. They'll never get their timing right, they'll never get that rhythm that they're looking for, and it'll be much easier for you to implement your own game plan against them because you'll be in control. So using this forehand slice to mix up play is a great tactic. It's something that many players don't do, and if you're someone who is able to do that, it will give you a huge edge, especially on that forehand side. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you've enjoyed it and learned something new. Now if you have enjoyed it, please click that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and turn on the notification bell so you get notified whenever we release a new lesson. Signing off, Simon from T2T, all the best and see you soon.